Part 2, Episode 6. How could anyone stand by and watch that? And the 4-year-old little girl was no criminal, so they can't use that excuse. You know, guys, listening to what Donald has to say reminds me of a story I was told a few years back from a gentleman who was in the military and was part of a security team at a lab. Some secret government lab somewhere down south. He would not discuss the location, however, his story was the scientists at the lab had created what they refer to as a soldier, basically as he described them to be werewolf soldiers. They had created 5 of them, planted tracking devices in them, and equipped their bodies with armor to protect the front chest area and around the neck. Somehow, these werewolf soldiers escaped the lab and went to the nearest town, which was about 10 miles away. As soon as they escaped, security team had loaded up their special weapons that would kill these creatures and located them by their microchips. 30 minutes after the werewolf soldiers had escaped, the security team arrived at the town to find the so-called dog soldiers were still there and had not left yet. They had slaughtered everyone in the town, men, women, and children. To the soldiers' surprise, these creatures had tracked the nearest humans to the lab, which was this town, broke into their homes, and slaughtered their entire families. Even newborn babies had been eaten. Everyone in the town was dead. So the soldiers found themselves face to face with the werewolf soldiers. Luckily, they were equipped with guns that could kill 2 elephants at the same time, and they knew where to shoot at. These specimens had to be terminated. They had acquired the taste of human blood instead of the enemy. All 5 dog soldiers were killed, bagged, and removed from the town. The team placed a huge bomb in the area, and when they were far enough away, the sergeant detonated the bomb and flattened the town and everyone in it. It was labeled by the local news as a gas line had went bad. No bodies were identifiable in the bombing, and that's the way the government wanted it. You won't find anything on the internet about it, Sergeant Smith told me. When they do cover-ups that big, they try to keep the media out of it, 'cause then it will draw the attention of the local police and people will start to ask questions. Sergeant Smith told me this story and swears by it. There's only one problem. He has stated that he knows of 8 more labs in and around big cities that have dogmen inside of them. He estimates each lab has 5. That's pretty freaking scary, not knowing where they're at. They got out before. I'm sure they can do it again. This makes the 2nd lab that has had Dogman escape and kill a lot of people, and the government covered it up. Creepy, huh? I just wanted you guys to hear that story because I believe it kind of ties into Ronald's story on government cover-ups and involvement with dogmen. Also, Michael Prince was found deceased back in 2011. I'm not sure why or how, but I'm going to do a little research on some of the government involvements and theories. I know this isn't a conspiracy theory channel, but the Dogman combined with the government, I mean, come on guys, that always makes a great story. Also, Ronald mentioned Operation Paperclip. Now, for those of you who don't know, Operation Paperclip was a CIA code name that smuggled out these German scientists before the end of World War II. They had successfully cloned a human cannibal from South America with a hybrid German werewolf, renamed the Super Soldier, or a Banshee, and were trained in warfare and used on Allied troops at the close of World War II. And they were captured and shipped over to the USA also for cloning purposes. And out of these cloning purposes, the Dogmen were born. Not naturally, but it was born. Thank you guys for tuning in to tonight's episode. You probably noticed Andrea's letter was similar to my story. However, I'm not sure if she's referring to the same one as I am. But we know the government has had this happen 2 times as we know of. And both times there's 5 dogmen involved called super soldiers. So that's why I decided to add her letter. Well, guys, thanks for listening, and I do apologize about having to do 2-part segments for each show now. Apparently something happened. I'm not allowed to record but 15 minutes at a time. So for the next couple weeks, I'm going to do 2 shows a night, 15 minutes apiece. So it'll be labeled like Episode 7, Part 1, Episode 7, Part 2. But as always, thanks for listening. And I hope you tune in next week for another great episode of Dogman Stories. Have a great night.